Hey Ashland, it's Martha Miller here with your Town Tea for the week of April 15th. For this week, I'm going to focus specifically on one public hearing at our Town Council meeting on Tuesday that had a lot of discussion around it, and that's a public hearing around the proposed Patriot Glenn development. Steve Ferris of Wilton Requisition brought this application forward and is requesting a rezoning of two parcels that total approximately 60 acres. They're located along East Patrick Henry Road, right there at Woodside Lane. The request is to change from rural residential to highway commercial and a planned unit development to develop a residential community with commercial pad sites fronting East Patrick Henry Road. The proposed residential component would be comprised of single-family detached homes as well as some townhomes and cottage-style homes. And 50% of the property would actually be designated as open space due to wetlands in the area as well as a dominion easement that runs throughout the property. The Planning Commission recommended approval of this application, but in the staff report, Nora Amos, our Director of Planning and Community Development, has actually recommended deferral. Then the public hearing was opened and one citizen stood up that lives in the nearby area, expressed concerns around the wetlands in the area and other things. And then it went on to a discussion among council. Vice Mayor Hodges specifically shared multiple concerns surrounding this application, including uncertainty around the possibility of connectivity, given that there is a parcel that runs through the center of this proposed development that is actually owned by Hanover County, and there are ongoing negotiations for the applicant to purchase that property, but those have not been solidified yet. And then the high density concentration of the townhouses underneath high powered electric lines in the area was a concern that Vice Mayor Hodges had. And then he also expressed concern that the proffers attached to the application don't actually really do much to address the character of the highway commercial in the area, especially making note of the fact that in the comprehensive plan amendment that was passed in 2023, specifically surrounding the Iron Horse development, which is on the other side there of East Patrick Henry Road potentially, that residents expressed a lot of concern about fast food and interstate commerce in that area. So as you know, like in our comprehensive plan, we have a lot of recommendations around character and design. And so the look and the density of the development is really of paramount importance to council. Councilmember Barnhart then went on to share that she's of course very supportive of diversity of housing, but did not like how the housing was separated from one another. And to get a feel for what I'm talking about, you can access the graphic in the presentation on the agenda, and you'll see that the way that it is developed or proposed to be developed now is you have single family homes kind of on one side and then the higher density townhouses on the other side. And then Ms. Barnhart also suggested a connection to Washington Lacey Park, and she also questioned the impact on area schools by bringing in more residential. Councilmember Dr. McGraw echoed the lack of integration of the housing styles and it not really being in line with what Ashland typically strives to do, which is to have a diversity of housing intermixed with one another. And then from that point on, after that lengthy discussion, Vice Mayor Hodges made a motion to defer the case back to the Planning Commission, and it passed unanimously across the board. So that case will go back to Planning Commission with the request that the strip of land kind of bisecting the property be addressed and have kind of firm plans in place from the developer on that, as well as better consideration about integrating those housing units so it doesn't seem like it's two separate units there with one central kind of roadway through the middle. Other things that occurred during that meeting, there was a public hearing for the Flagstop Car Wash and a conditional use permit was approved for that. That's going to be located up Route 1 next to Sheets. And then Town Manager Josh Farah also presented his proposed FY24-25 budget, and the Town Council will vote on that budget at their regularly scheduled meeting on June 4th. If you want to see the details of that budget proposal, it's all in the minutes and on the agenda packet. So looking ahead, from a community perspective, one of our biggest days of the year is coming up. April 27th is Ashland Train Day. I do know that the Downtown Ashland Association, who does all of of the work around Train Day is still looking for volunteers. If you would like to volunteer, you have a high schooler that's looking for volunteer hours, please visit ashlandtrainday.com to get more details as soon as possible. All right, Ashland, that's it. You'll have a good weekend.